Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to have a glance at Dhirubhai Ambani biography. If this doesn't inspire you, nothing will. So without any further delay, let's get started. Dhirjalal Hirachand Ambani, better known as Dhirubhai, was a legendary Indian business tycoon and founder of Reliance Industries Limited. His is the story of rags to riches. Almost all of us have dreams, but not many can realize them. Dhirubhai had the extraordinary capability to make his dreams come true. With his hard work and perseverance, this man of metal compelled the lady luck to smile on him. Out of a scratch, he established India's largest privately controlled corporate empire. Dhirubhai was born on 28 December 1932 at Chorwad, Junagadh in state of Gujarat, India. His father's name was Hirachand Govardhan Das Ambani, and his mother's name was Jamunaben Hirachand Ambani. Dhirubhai was their second son. Hirachand Ambani was a schoolteacher of very moderate means. Because of a background of poverty, Dhirubhai stopped studying after the 10th standard. He decided to join his elder brother, Ramniklal Ambani, who was working in Aden, now a part of Yemen. And so, the 16-year-old Dhirubhai sailed to Aden. Aden was a trading port for the British Empire at that time. The first job Dhirubhai got in Aden was that of an attendant in a gas station. Then he worked for A. Besco Limited, the sole-selling distributor of Shell products. In the year 1958, he returned to Mumbai and started his first company, Reliance Commercial Corporation, a commodity trading and export house. Dhirubhai would survey the Bombay textile bazaars himself, trading his imported polyester textiles. Soon, he realized it wasn't easy as there were established firms which dominated the markets. But Dhirubhai was not a man who would give up. Within a few years, he set up his own factory manufacturing textiles in Ahmedabad. By way of his fair dealings and excellent product quality, Dhirubhai soon gained prominence in the textile market. Meanwhile, he married Kokilaben. The couple had two sons, Mukesh and Anil, and two daughters, Deepthi and Neena. The family of 6 lived in a one-room apartment in the Jai Hind Society, a tenement building in Mumbai that housed 500 families. The days were full of struggle. Due to financial constraints, the children often had to wear each other's clothes. However, Dhirubhai never felt demoralized by the adverse circumstances. In the year 1966, he started a textile mill in Naroda, Ahmedabad. This mill manufactured fabrics for suits and saris. It was the first step in Reliance's highly successful strategy of backward integration. Within 1 year, the net profit from this venture was ₹1.30 million. Now Dhirubhai planned to expand. He bought more machines for his mill and made other investments. At that time, he was marketing fabric under the brand name Vimal. Vinal was the name of his elder brother's son. By the year 1968, Dhirubhai had gained a better financial status. He moved his family out of the one-room home in the Jai Hind Society to a more spacious apartment in a better locality. He also owned a Cadillac and later a Mercedes-Benz. Hereafter, Dhirubhai never looked back. In the year 1975, a technical team from the World Bank certified that the Reliance textile plant was excellent by developed country standards. In 1977, Reliance made a net profit of 12.8 million rupees on total revenue of 687 million rupees. There is still a huge potential for expansion. But for that I need a large inflow of capital, Dhirubhai brooded. But unlike most Indian businessmen, he did not want to borrow heavily from the financial institutions. I would instead raise money from the public at large to fund my industrial ventures, he thought. Finally, he came up with the decision to float a public issue. The company was renamed as Reliance Textile Industries Limited and their maiden public issue garnered 28 million rupees. It raised equity capital from tens of thousands of investors, many of them located in small towns. The expansion was so extensive that it was said about Dhirubhai that on one particular day, he inaugurated the retail outlets of as many as 100 franchises. Still, there was a long way to go. Dhirubhai started to focus on manufacture of chemicals and synthetic fibers from 1979 to 1982. Reliance raised a total of 918 million rupees from small investors. In 1982, Dhirubhai moved from making polyester fabric at his mills to manufacturing the polyester filament yarn that goes into the fabric. Meanwhile, he had also succeeded in cultivating good contacts with politicians in power. When Indira Gandhi returned to power in the 1980 general elections, Dhirubhai shared a platform with her at a victory rally. He had also become very close to the then Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee and the Prime Minister's principal aide R.K. Dhawan. At that time, the Reliance Group had embarked on an ambitious program to build an industrial complex at Patalganga to manufacture synthetic fibers and intermediates for polyester production. The year 1982 saw Dhirubhai Ambani's ability to fight back. It so happened that a Kolkata-based cartel of beer operators had sought to hammer down the share price of Reliance Industries. But the cartel was not aware of the Ambani metal. Dhirubhai, the tough man, took the cartel head-on. Not only did he manage to ensure the purchase of close to 1 million shares that the beer cartel offloaded, he also demanded physical delivery of shares. The beer cartel was rattled and the incident created waves in the stock markets. The Bombay Stock Exchange had to shut down for a couple of days before the crisis was resolved. Those days, Dhirubhai's elder son Mukesh was studying for an MBA at Stanford University in California. Time is now right to pull my son into business, thought Dhirubhai. And then he called Mukesh back to India to help build new plants. They bought the latest machines, which could produce 10,000 tons of polyester yarn a year. The most interesting fact was that at that time total Indian consumption of polyester yarn was 6,000 tons a year. But being a far-sighted man, Dhirubhai knew that the demand would increase in time. In 1985, Reliance had over 1.2 million stockholders and bondholders. The annual general meeting of the company was held at a football stadium in Mumbai. About 12,000 shareholders attended this meeting. All of them were proud to be part of the Reliance realm. We are dropping the word textile from the company's name, Dhirubhai, the chairman announced. This decision was reflective of the great diversification that was taking place in the group. That day on, the company came to be known as Reliance Industries Limited. During the mid-80s, the Reliance Group had to face some bitter days. The company had a battle with Bombay Dyeing headed by Nusli Wadia. The two corporate groups were producing competing products. The Reliance was manufacturing purified terephthalic acid, PTA, while the Bombay Dyeing was manufacturing dimethyl terephthalate, DMT. Eventually, Wadia lost the hate. But it was believed that he became the source of information for many of the articles against the Ambanis that were published subsequently in the Indian Express. Dhirubhai's managerial skills were undoubtedly exceptional. He reflected immense faith in his workers. He always liked to maintain a personal touch with his company's workers. In 1983, he had hosted a lunch for 12,000 of his company's workers on the occasion of the marriage of his younger daughter Diti. He had a superb ability to interact with individuals from different walks of life. He would often remark, "I am sure there must be at least 1,000 individuals like me in the country who would dare to dream big. And if all these entrepreneurs could achieve their ambitions, India would become an economic superpower one day. In February 1986, Dhirubhai suffered a stroke that left his right side partially paralyzed. But this did not diminish his zeal to work. By then Dhirubhai had involved both his sons Mukesh and Anil in the company's affairs. Things got difficult for the Ambanis after VP Singh became Prime Minister in December 1989. Those days, Reliance Group was attempting to acquire managerial control over Larsen & Toubro, one of India's largest construction and engineering companies. But the government-owned financial institutions like the Life Insurance Corporation and the General Insurance Corporation stonewalled this attempt of Reliance. Sensing defeat, the Ambanis resigned from the board of the company after incurring large losses. Dhirubhai, who had become L&T chairman in April 1989, had to quit his post to make way for D.N. Ghosh, former chairman of the State Bank of India. Dhirubhai's endeavours fetched him not only recognition, but also rewards. He was chosen Businessman of the Year 1993. In 1994, he was awarded the companion membership of the Textile Institute, UK, an award that is limited to 50 living members who have substantially advanced the general interests of the industries based on fibers. In June 1998, the leading business magazine Business Barons placed him in its list of India's 25 most influential business and financial leaders. He was also chosen as the Star of Asia by Business Week, USA. The same year, Dhirubhai was awarded the Dean's Medal by the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, for setting an outstanding example of leadership. In 1996, Reliance invested $6 billion to build a 27 million ton a year oil refinery at Jamnagar. This plant was Dhirubhai's vision. Reliance completed the refinery in less than 3 years. The plant required the amount of steel equivalent to 16 Eiffel Towers. Dhirubhai Ambani was declared the most admired Indian business leader by the Times of India, IndiaTimes.com poll in July 1999. He featured amongst the Power 50 India's 50 most powerful decision-makers in politics, business and finance, chosen by the magazine Business Barons, in August 1999. In December 1999, the same magazine conducted the Global Multimedia Poll. In this poll, Dhirubhai was chosen as the Indian Businessman of the Century. In December 1999, the Indian Merchants Chamber chose Dhirubhai as an outstanding visionary of the 20th century in recognition of his unique achievements and contribution in the development of industry and capital markets in India. He was also chosen as one of the 3 makers of equity by India Today in their special Millennium issue, January 2000, entitled 100 People Who Shaped India in the 20th Century. He was voted as Creator of Wealth of the Century in the Times of India poll. January 2000. In the same month, he was voted as the most admired Indian of the millennium in the field of business and economics in Legends, a Celebration of Excellence poll, audited by Ernst & Young for Zee Network. The prestigious award, Indian Entrepreneur of the 20th Century, was conferred upon Dhirubhai in March 2000 by FICCI, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries, for his meticulous scripting of one of the most remarkable stories of business endeavor of the 20th century. In November 2000, this great business personality received the Man of the Century award by Chemtech Foundation and Chemical Engineering World, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to the growth and development of the chemical industry in India. In February 2002, the India HRD Congress conferred the Lifetime Achievement Award on this great business personality. On the evening of 24 June 2002, Dhirubhai suffered a second stroke and slipped into a coma. He was admitted to Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital. 12 days later, on Saturday 6 July, Dhirubhai Ambani expired, roughly 10 minutes before midnight. He was mourned all over the world by millions of people. At his cremation, the celebrities and the ordinary people stood side to side. No Indian businessman ever attracted the kind of crowd that Dhirubhai did on his last journey. Even after his death, Dhirubhai continued to receive awards and acknowledgements. In January 2003, the Patriotic Society conferred posthumously the Lifetime Achievement Award for his outstanding contribution to downstream petroleum industry in India. He was voted as India's top businessman in the Best of India poll conducted by Zee News in August 2003. Dhirubhai established a mammoth business empire. When he died, the Reliance Group of companies had a gross annual turnover of around 75,000 crore rupees, which is close to $15 billion. Today, the Reliance is trusted by an investor family of over 3.1 million, which is India's largest. The group's activities span exploration and production, E&P, of oil and gas, refining and marketing, petrochemicals, polyester, polymers, and intermediates, textiles, financial services and insurance, power, telecom and infocom initiatives. The group exports its products to more than 100 countries the world over. Reliance Group revenue is equivalent to about 3.5% of India's gross domestic product. The group contributes nearly 10% of the country's indirect tax revenues and over 6% of India's exports. The group's flagship company, Reliance Industries Limited, RIL, is the first and only private sector company from India to feature in the 2004 Fortune Global 500 list of world's largest corporations. It also ranks amongst the top 200 companies of the world in terms of profits. Reliance Industries Limited has also been included in the list of world's 10 most respected energy chemicals companies. In the year 2004, a global survey and research was conducted by the PricewaterhouseCoopers and Financial Times. In this survey, the RIL emerged amongst the top 50 companies that create the most value for their shareholders. And that is not all. The RIL also features in the Forbes Global list of world's 400 best big companies and in FT Global 500 list of world's largest companies. Today, Dhirubhai's sons, Mukesh and Anil, are keen on effectively implementing their plans of diversifying into the new economy. The Reliance Group has succeeded to provide telecom services in many parts of the country, not to mention the mobile revolution. It was Dhirubhai's vision to reach mobile services even to the remotest of villages in India. And his dream was realized by his sons after his death. Dhirubhai ka sapna, kar lo duniya mutti mein, was a slogan on the lips of each and every Indian. This great Indian businessman has indeed left behind his footprints for many to follow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button there.